From Washington, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, both the Fox News analysts. Colonel Peters, what is the headline of Ambassador Rice's speech for you?
Secure, expand, defend, leverage. Her 4 points. Bill, that's not a strategy. It's a bumper sticker. I mean, it was really ridiculous. It was mush. The yogurt I had for breakfast had more intellectual structure. She's talking about, I'm using my notes, secure U.S. allies partners. Expand prosperity. 3, defend democracy. 4, leverage American leadership. There's no there there.
Yeah, it's right.
Let me just say this: that you nailed it. That this was an exercise in self-congratulation. The message was, wow, we're doing so well, we're going to give you more of the same. And my barf factor soared when toward the end Susan Rice, speaking of the administration, called it our unparalleled leadership. This was not a strategy. America deserves better. And by the way, Islamic State deserves more than this.
Well, you know what was good about it, Colonel Hunt, is that now everybody knows there's no debate anymore. The White House believes that they're doing a hell of a job. You know, they're really, really kicking some serious butt around the world. Meantime, we see what we see. I get a little upset when Ambassador Rice says, well, we have this coalition and we're going to join together. 90% of the ISIS bombing is being done by the USA. The Emirates bailed out because they didn't like the security that we were providing them. We're carrying the whole ball. 60 coalition nations, what are they doing? What? Nothing. Maybe they have 5 guys there standing around. So do they live, in your opinion, Colonel Hunt, in an unreal world, a world of delusion, or do you think they have valid points?
I think anytime you give a speech that spends as much time on transgendered issues as it does terrorism, and it's a national security speech, you've got a real problem, and that's what we just had. The issue is 2 points. The United States is leading the world on the fight in terrorism. We want, obviously, more done. The issue is how to get more done, because the administration right now thinks it is doing it, and what's happening on the ground is stopping ISIS to a point, but nowhere near destroying it. If you want to destroy ISIS, as an example, you have to do it with soldiers on the ground, U.S., because nobody else can do it. Things like Jordan, a country like Jordan can't make the move for 500 miles to Mosul without U.S. help. Okay. And we've got 3,000 guys on the ground already.
Well, I'm gonna appoint you. You're Ambassador Susan Wright, Colonel Peters, right now. All right, this is my magic wand. I just made you Ambassador Wright.
Okay then.
I cited yesterday, Ms. Ambassador, all right, 2 reports, one from the United Nations and one from Amnesty International, that say girls ages 10 to 12 are being raped, tortured, and forced to marry ISIS savages, and that there are unparalleled atrocities going on in all the territory that ISIS covered, okay? On your watch, Ms. Ambassador, and on the President's watch, ISIS has gained thousands of square miles of territory, which mostly they hold. And every day, little girls are getting raped. And you're telling me that you believe somewhere down the line they'll be degraded or whatever. What about all the people who are suffering now? Do you have no responsibility for that? And you say, Ms. Ambassador?
Well, unfortunately, when you don't want to fight, when you're unwilling to send ground troops, nothing is going to happen. And it's you know, this is such a sad thing, Bill, because the atrocities, the barbarism in the Middle East is so great. I mean, I can't respond to Susan Rice. I can't sink that
No, but
low.
do you think that she even thinks about that? Do they even care about that?
No, they don't care about it. They don't care about it. And I'll tell you what they don't care about. Now, I personally had no problem with Susan Rice mentioning the LGBT community and their human rights. I want decent human rights for all law-abiding, decent people.
But not in this speech. This is a national security speech.
But here's the key thing. Here's the key thing. They didn't mention the destruction of 2,000 years of Christian civilization. They didn't mention the burying little boys alive, the destruction of other minorities, the slaughter of Muslims, beheading children for watching soccer matches.
They don't seem to see that as an existential threat.
They don't care.
All right.
Well, your point about Nazi Germany was right. It is, you know, it's 1933. Get ready for 38 and 39.
I believe the parallel is frightening. Okay, now I'm going to spend the next 90 seconds on the Pentagon. They're obviously embarrassed on the Bo Bergdahl front. We're going to have another report next week on that, whereas the Army won't publicly say what they're going to do, even though they know what they're going to do. They know what happened there. They won't say it publicly. So they're embarrassed. Are they embarrassed, Colonel Hunt, in your opinion, from talking to people that you know, about Americans' impotence in the face of ISIS? That ISIS does what they want, and America can't seem to stop them. Does the Pentagon care? How do they feel about that?
There's two things. The Army is embarrassed about the Bergdahl incident internally because of the way they've
Right.
acted. That's a U.S. Army problem with some politics in this. As far as the ISIL, there's a strong argument about more to do from the Air Force particularly. But there isn't this hue and cry about we have to re-attack in Iraq. It's the point. The problem is they can't get the right definition out of the White House, which is destroy or
Contain. Destroy
detain.
or contain.
Detain now, yes. Destroy means soldiers on the ground, but nobody's arguing on either side of the aisle for American soldiers on the ground. And what I'm trying to say is this can't get done with any other army in the Middle East because Turkey's not coming
everybody
in,
knows that.
etc. It's got to be U.S. guys. And
30
that
seconds, Colonel
seems
Peters.
problematic.
Stop the music. Pentagon embarrassed over Bergdahl. Is there any kind of groundswell
No.
of opposition about
Well,
ISIS?
yes. Well, first of all, they're not embarrassed about Bergdahl. They're cynical about it. The troops I know, the officers, they're just disgusted by it. They're repelled by this administration still playing politics by this. And by the way, President Obama, in his own selfishness and cynicism, has made private PFC, as far as I'm concerned, Bergdahl, the most hated guy in uniform. As far as the airstrikes go, cynicism again. They know Obama's not going to do something. They know it's not working. I mean, soldiers are cynical by nature. It's a pose
Yeah,
you do.
I know.
But
I just
I've
didn't know
never
what
seen it
level
like
it's at.
this.
Okay.
It's a level I've never seen.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Next on the rundown, how should you react to President Obama's comparison of Muslim and Christian